What is up, ladies? What is up? What is up? What is up? Are y'all in the building? Are all the housewives in the building? Let me hear you. I don't hear you. Where are all my housewives? Let me hear you. Woo! Yes, housewives, 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 housewives. What's up? What's up? Are we in the building? Are we in the building? Because I am in the building and I want you to make some noise. Because I want everybody to know that we are here. The housewives have arrived. And we don't need anybody else to talk for us except for us. Alright, so I want you to take up space and let everybody know that the housewives have arrived. Yes, it's Thursday and we are having another meeting. I didn't even mic up correctly, so let me do that. But I was so excited, or I am so excited to get this meeting started. That's why I want y'all to make some noise and give yourself a round of applause, because we are here together with all the housewives worldwide. Yes, and I'm so excited and I'm so happy that you are all here today. And I did go to the barber shop, like I said on Tuesday, that I wanted to, get some beauty treatments done. And I did my makeup a bit differently. So what do you think about it? You already know that I'm not gonna gatekeep what I used. So go into the description box and see all the products that I use from day to day, from skincare, beauty, earrings. Everything will be explained down below. But I have to say, I'm feeling myself. I'm feeling myself. I'm feeling myself. I'm feeling myself. I'm feeling my, So I don't know what you think. And I'm cold. I don't know, but it's cold. So I put on a cardigan, and you already know I'm not at home by myself. All the kids are at home, so you'll be seeing them coming in and out. I already told them that I'm, having a meeting with my ladies. So hopefully they will not interrupt as much. But let me see what Kemi wants, and then I will be right back. I find it a bit cold, so I'm wearing this cardigan because all my clothes are in storage. All my winter, spring attire are in storage. So I don't really have, not even winter, spring, I meant fall and spring. What am I saying? Fall and winter are in storage. So I didn't have a lot, but I had this cardigan left. So I'm wearing this today. So it's not really fashionable, but it's functional. It's very functional. So yes, and I wanted to do my nails, or at least paint my nails. And I want to do it in the meeting. But I was like, is it going to be nice if I will be painting my nails while we are talking? Is it that casual? So I'm going to do that later. But yes, I'm so happy to be here. And I hope that you are happy as well. It's Thursday, meaning weekend is coming up for the people who are still working. I mean, for the women that are still bringing their children to school or attending stuff, or maybe even helping your husbands. I know not everybody is having a summer holiday. And to be honest, it's summer holiday for my children, but I don't experience it like that. Because for me, 6 weeks off means you can do other stuff. I'm really that mom that wants my children to go to summer school or summer camp. Do something. Don't waste 6 weeks by just staying at home, watching television, playing. You can do so much within 6 weeks. So I'm really trying getting making them active, to do more active stuff. So this week was more rest week, but from next week forward, they are going to be active. We are not going to sit around and just waste precious time, because I am not sitting around wasting precious time. And I don't care how much money I have. I think holidays are kind of a waste. I don't want to say waste, but it's not my priority to spend amounts and amounts of money to lay at a beach or to be in a resort. Basically, okay, you're playing, you're having fun, but you can have fun by doing other stuff and also learning things. So I just have a new perspective on holidays, and especially when you are an entrepreneur, there are opportunities. Even though it's holidays, there are opportunities to, build out your business, venture out. So I have a different view on holidays. So that's why I'm keeping this meeting going, because I could have easily said, it's summer holidays, everybody will be on a holiday, let me just quit this and we will see each other back in September. But I was like, no, we are home, we can connect. Now we don't have that much distractions or rush hours, so let's just keep it going and see who else wants to meet up and connect, because it's time. We have gained time back, so we want to connect and see which other housewives are also available to connect with. So yeah, Amalia. So yeah, I'm just taking or making the most out of an opportunity, even though we are on off season. This is a great way to connect with other housewives, because maybe normally around this time they will be busy or have other obligations. So this is a great time to connect and make the most of our holiday. And also with holidays comes relaxing, and I'm trying my best to relax as much as I can. For me, my husband is working. Maybe your husband is working as well. So I have all the children. Of course, I can bring them to my mother, but they also want to be at home in their safe space. They want to be at home in their safe space where they know everything. So I don't want to take that away from them. So I watched a few things this past week. Finally, I watched Michael. Unfortunately, I couldn't catch it in the cinemas. Finally watched Michael. Unfortunately, I didn't watch it in the cinema, so it's not, I didn't add to the numbers, of the success, the first week, the most important week of the film. But that's okay. I watched it nonetheless. My take on it is, it's a good movie, but I love the first film of the Jackson biopic. That one I loved more because it was more detailed. It gave more context. Where this one was a cinema movie, so the setup was different. The other one, the film is almost like 4 or 5 hours. This one is a cinema movie, so you get the great cinematography. Is that how you say it? It is smooth. Everything is beautifully done, but I'm missing context. I want to know more. I'm interested in Michael. I really want to see what was going on in his mind. Also, what was going on surround him. In the first one, you could really tell that was the 50s, the 60s, segregation, certain things were going on. You could really grasp, or really they took you back in time so that you can understand where they were coming from, or why his father was that strict, what his goal was. Maybe his tactics were wrong, but you could get more of an idea, and you could really see where Michael was coming from with his music and his vocals. So that was the part that I was missing. And then I realized Janet wasn't even in the movie. There was no Janet Jackson. So it was a good movie, but I wanted more context. And then I'm still on Desperate Housewives. I told that once in a vlog. I'm still not finished. I think I'm season 4, something like that. Great series. But I stopped watching it for a good couple of months. I think a good 4 months I stopped watching it. And I'm at the part where Orson found out that Bree was having an affair with Carl, and then the plane crashed, and now he's paralyzed and all that stuff. And that is where I'm at. But I think it was Sunday, and I was contemplating, do I want to watch Desperate Housewives or do I want to watch something else? So I was browsing my streaming service, and all of a sudden I saw a documentary of Nature Boy popping up. And I was like, I remember Nature Boy, because I can recall around 2014 and 15 that his videos popped up on my screen, whether it be Instagram or YouTube, and I was kind of intrigued by his thoughts and how he viewed life and his perspective. But I was never a follower, but I knew of him. So I didn't realize that I missed a whole chapter, and that Nature Boy is serving a life sentence in prison. So, and I love detective stuff. I love documentaries. Like I said, I love context. I like to know a lot. So I decided to watch that documentary. It was very disturbing, the events that happened on the island or on Costa Rica and the places that he was. And for the people who don't know who Nature Boy is, he was an influencer who was talking about, Black pride and Black history. And then he decided to move from America and move to Costa Rica and start some kind of Eden over there. And it became a cult, and it turned out to be a sex cult, and there was rape, there was abuse, there was manipulation, there was a lot going on. But why I'm bringing this up is this. I am a domestic violence survivor. I was physically, emotionally, mentally abused by my first boyfriend. We never lived together. We were not married. We had no children together, but he abused me, or I allowed him to abuse me. People don't understand the concept of abuse, and people just think you are weak, you are stupid, you just can break it off and run away. But it doesn't happen like that. And what I found interesting, but also a relief within this documentary, is that it showed that also men were victim of the manipulation of Nature Boy. Matter of fact, he was also abusive to them, not only towards the women but also towards the men. And there were men in there that served the army, that probably knew how to use a gun, that probably were very strong, But because their mind was manipulated, they couldn't stand up for themselves. Let me just say it, because I thought about this. The fear, they were led by fear. And then it doesn't matter how strong you are, how rich you are, how tough you are. Once you have fear, that is when any and everything is possible. The other way around is also facts. When you have love, you also believe that every and anything is possible. But when you have fear, it can be very dangerous. And when people judge domestic violence victims and they just say, oh, you're so stupid, you could have left. They don't understand the concept of manipulation and fear. Once you don't believe that you can leave, you just stop trying and you just let somebody abuse you because you just fear that person because of what they told you, what they've shown you, what they did to you, the kind of power they have, the type of influence they have on other people, which make you believe that you are by yourself, that you are alone, that you are not strong enough, that you are not capable, you are insecure, you are ashamed, you have a fear of being bullied by other people once they find out. So there are a lot of fears that surround you and that are stuck in your mind. But it was a relief to see that this is not secluded, abuse is not secluded to women alone. It can also happen to men, strong men, bold men, rich men, poor men, secure men. Once you don't control your mind anymore and you are led by fear, any and everything is possible. And that is what happened with the cult of Nature Boy. And my heart goes out to all these victims, because even though the cult has stopped, now you have to live with whatever happened to you or what you allowed to happen to other people, because there were times where people were being abused and people watched and they didn't do nothing, or they heard screams but they didn't do nothing because of fear. Now you have to accept that you have allowed certain things to happen, and you got to live with that. And that is a very hard thing to live with. And you have to keep telling yourself, I didn't know better. I just did not know better. But now that I know better, I can do better. So this will never happen to me. And even if it did happen to me again, because I ignored signs, it will not happen as long. I will step up earlier or faster. I will seek help faster, because you understand now who you are. You know what you are capable of. You know your strengths. So somebody cannot have control over you, or if they do, not for that long. That's why you see all these rules and regulations when it comes to genocide, because people now understand what Hitler did and how Hitler used his tactics to control a large group of people, which were now being manipulated and believed that there was one group that was a danger to society, and he controlled them and not even forced them or influenced them to end people's lives. Now that we understand this, there are being rules and regulations put in place so that event will never happen again. And every time people sense some type of danger of genocides or ending masses of groups, their lives, we all just go in fast, and we just destroy it basically, so that basically the cancer cells cannot develop. We destroy the cancer cells when they are being formed, and that's important. And that same thing will happen to you in real life, in your personal life. Once you feel something that kind of reminds you of your abuser, it might be mind games, it might be being mean, unkind, disrespectful, the alarm goes up immediately. Immediately you feel like this is wrong, and then you either speak up or you leave the situation. And that is your own protection, so that it doesn't happen again. So I thought it was beautiful that we could have saw that we saw how that really evolved, and that somebody can have good intentions, because I don't believe that he had bad intentions, but with great power comes great responsibility. And if you don't know how to carry that responsibility, you will abuse that power. And I think that is what happened to Nature Boy. I don't know him, but I don't think that was his aim, to rape and abuse people. It just, with all the fame, all the attention, also the stress, he felt maybe, okay, I don't have a plan and I don't know how to execute, and it became all too much, and he started lashing out on people. He started misbehaving. Maybe traumas of his past started coming up. When you do not deal with your emotions, with your issues, with your struggle, and there is more weight being put on you, you will crash and you will crack. This morning, my husband told me about a entrepreneur here in the Netherlands, but he's also known as an influencer, Samuel Anua. I don't really know what happened. I just saw an article where he was, I read that he was naked in public, running around, doing all types of things out of character, and then he was arrested. When you do not deal with your issues, your traumas, your struggles, whatever you're facing, and you come into a position of power, money, fame, influence, with other words, responsibilities, you can crash out. So it's important for you to seek help. Seek your mentor. We have a lot of mentors here in the group. Seek somebody who has dealt with the issues you have dealt with, that have walked the path that you are on. Seek therapy. Seek it, even though you're not used to it. It's not something that you do in your community. It's not something that you do in your culture or your family. It's foreign to you. Do it. It's about learning how to think, how to process your thoughts, how to ask the right questions, how to reflect on things. It's not about somebody telling you what to do. It's about you thinking about your actions, your choices, your moves. And if you cannot do that by yourself, then you should learn how to do that. And that is what they are going to teach you in therapy. Of course, there are other stuff amongst that, but it's very necessary for you to learn to not take things personal. When I started this journey online, and I didn't know how to really articulate my feelings, my thoughts, I guess I attracted also people that didn't know how to articulate and process their thoughts well. I wasn't cursing, but maybe my tone, my demeanor, it was very harsh. It was something people didn't expect from me, because I'm always a nice, kind person. I always smile. I'm always happy. So they couldn't process me being so harshly and judgmental of women. I got so much flack online, so much. I could have easily internalized all these things and said that I was a bad person and become very insecure. But I realized it's not about me in that equation. Meaning, if somebody curses me out, talks negatively about me when I'm trying to help, or I'm helping you, I just don't know how to choose my words wisely, it says something about them, because they could have told me in love, meaning, Debi, we love you. I understand what you're trying to do, but maybe your tone. And I'm not saying all people were mean. There were a few people that really came to me or came into my DMs and they were like, your tone, maybe you should try this. Maybe you should use this angle. And I appreciate these people. But that doesn't mean that the people that responded very negatively and started cursing and started threatening me, these people need to learn how to speak to other people. But because I did the work because of the abusive relationship, I understand that it's not about me. What they say about me, that has nothing to do with me. I know who I am. I know my intentions. Maybe, yes, I can watch my footage back. I can learn. I can grow. I can articulate myself better. I can come with love. I had to learn these things because these things were not something that was taught to me when I had been, let me just say, when I was disciplined by my mom. It was not corrections with love. It was force. It was aggressive. It was abusive. It was mean. Sometimes I was being ignored. And that is not how a mentor should guide his mentee, I believe. That's why I always choose my words nowadays wisely. Matter of fact, it already started when I was in an abusive relationship, that I wanted to be honest. I wanted to, help my ex-boyfriend, or my boyfriend back then, to help him because I saw he was struggling. Matter of fact, I just should have told him he needs to go into therapy, but I didn't know. I thought that I had the strength, the power, the belief to help him be a better person, because I always look at people through the lens of love. I don't see their flaws. Love just gives you a veil and you see the beauty in people. You see their potential. And some people say it's dangerous. You should not go by potential. You should go by a finished product. And I'm coming to this subject later on, but that is not how I am designed. I always spoke up. I always thought with him, how can you improve yourself? How can you, achieve your goals? But he couldn't appreciate my feedback. And as the time progressed, I start talking less, but I also start being tactful of, okay, I want to say this, but maybe if I say it like this, it might come across very blunt. So if I think about this, maybe pray on it, come back in a week, then I can say it better. And that's okay. Some people say that's dangerous. You should be free to say whatever you want to say. It should not be a problem, of course. But you also want to be mindful of people's feelings. Some people are more sensitive than others. Some subjects are more sensitive than others. So you should be careful and thoughtful when you want to share something. I mean, if somebody died in the family, you just don't say things like that. You consider the people that are grieving. You think, okay, you're just not gonna play upbeat music when you know somebody just died in your family or in your house. You want to be mindful and thoughtful of other people's feelings, and that is life. We live together. We are all together, so I have to be mindful of the people that I live with, the people that I'm surrounded by, my surroundings. So, but it is very much necessary for you to, if you are easily triggered, to seek help and to see, why am I triggered? Why am I taking this personal? If somebody calls me monkey, why would I respond to that fact? Because I know I am not a monkey. So you are not talking to me because I have a name, I'm a female. So if somebody tells me, hey monkey, what's up? I don't have to respond to that. I don't. So I think these are things we should learn, that not everything needs a reaction. Sometimes my children come in and they say, Mom, Amali said this about me. Okay, but are you that? No. So why would you respond to that if you are not that? Yeah, but she said it. So that doesn't mean you have to respond to it. That doesn't mean it's true. That doesn't mean that she has control over you. But right now, you are being controlled by the things she said when it's not even true. So we are teaching our children how to think, how to process information, because not all information is for you. Some people just say stuff and they want a reaction and they want to take you out of character. But that doesn't mean that everything needs a response. So with that said, I saw that documentary and I thought it was good for other people to see that abuse is not just for women, it's not just for children. It can happen to the strongest amongst us if you don't control your mind, if you don't process the information that somebody tells you, and you just follow somebody like he's the king, he's a messiah, he's God. You might find yourself somewhere else and where you never thought you would have been. So again, my heart goes out to the victims, especially Velvet, because she had a child, or she has a child with Nature Boy, and I believe she's very strong because she left. She left. And I think that's very powerful when somebody leaves or somebody is being saved by somebody else. Because sometimes when you are being saved by somebody else, or somebody else ends that situation, you weren't actively involved in leaving that person. So that means they still hold your mind, and I find that quite dangerous, because you can leave your abuser or somebody saves you from your abuser, but they still live on in your body and in your mind because you didn't actively make the switch of, I'm leaving. I'm done. I'm finding tactics. I'm finding ways. I'm finding tools to save myself. So with that said, basically there were just a few people that left the cult. Velvet was one of them. There was another lady, I don't know her name, is it Janelle? She also left. She was the last victim that left, and that was an active move. The other people who, let me say, the other people that left the cult, or not even left the cult, after Janae, he raped Janae or Janelle. I'm sorry, I don't know her name. Check the documentary. And she filed charges, or she pressed charges. And that is how the cult came to an end. That was the fall of Nature Boy. But the other people were still actively in the cult because they were still victim to his mind games. So I don't know how that works, because when I ended my relationship with my first boyfriend, I left the relationship. I was the one that worked on myself and told myself I deserve better, I need better, I deserve to be free. And that's when I started to plan my escape. So I left that situation. So I hold the control, because now I'm standing up for myself. Now I'm fighting for myself. Now I'm showing myself love, showing myself courage, showing myself that I can do this. And when I finally succeeded, it's just a different type of euphoria. It's a different type of joy, because you really feel like, I did this. I am strong. I stood up against my abuser. I showed my abuser that I don't need you. Your mind tricks do not work anymore. And this is also the most dangerous time, because now that person thinks, whoa, I have lost control. No, this is wrong. No, I need you back. And that's why the time period when you leave your abuser is the most dangerous one. And that's why I was in hiding for maybe a few months, because I understood that I couldn't go home, because he would probably go to my home and look for me, and I didn't want that drama. So I just left, stopped school, stopped going to the places that he knew I always was, stopped dance class, stopped everything, stopped my job. So I think it's very important that you seek help. Make sure you're strong. Make sure that you don't take things too personal, because everybody here in this world has their own perspective, has their own backpack, has their own understanding. Nobody is better than the other. Nobody has more knowledge or is more let me just say, how do I want to say it? Because I have to translate from the Dutch to the English, because English is not my first language. So sometimes I have to process and think, how am I going to explain this and it makes sense to you? But how can I explain this? What was I saying? Yeah, nobody is better than you. Don't think because somebody else has more credentials or more money or more strength, physical strength, that they are better than you. That is not the case. These people are here to help us, to make us all better. And I know not everybody understands that, not everybody has that type of understanding, but your experiences are not only for yourself. I think we should share our experience, whether it's how to be successful, whether it is how to lose weight or how to raise children, because it makes us better as a whole. So when somebody is boasting, talking about, I got so much money, good for you, but share, how did you do it? Or share, what does it mean that you have so much money? How does it feel to have all these responsibilities? Share the journey, share your experience. That's why I said I'm gonna open up this club or start this club, because I'm here to share my experiences. I don't know a lot. I just know what I know, but I know that my journey can help somebody else, and I can be your mentor and share things with you. I don't know about abuse when you live together, when you have children. I don't know none of that stuff, because that is not my experience, but I know what I know. And what I have learned, which is beautiful, because yesterday I watched the podcast, it's Kiki Palmer with Oprah Winfrey, and I know Oprah is a very well respected woman. People trust her opinion, her ways. And she was talking about you should know what you want. And I believe that because years and years ago, my husband and I wrote a book, a relationship book. And at first the book was totally different. And he wrote his part, I wrote my part. It was totally different. And I rewrote the book a few years ago. Really going back and figure out how did I start this journey of becoming a housewife or being a wife period or being in a relationship, knowing that I'm really from ground -10 because I started with a deficiency, meaning I started with abuse. Basically, I started with a deficiency, not different from somebody starting a business and they start with 1 million in the hole. Minus $1 million. So I started with deficiency because I started off from abuse, started from looking for attention, looking to be loved. That was really my starting point. Went into the abuse. Now I know this is something I never want to experience again. Never ever in my lifetime. That was something, facts. I knew that for a fact. This is not something I want to go through again. So I started working on myself. I started going to, I didn't have a lot of therapy, like 5 sessions, but it was enough for me because I already did a social studies before, so I already knew about reflection and paraphrasing and how you should think. So it was just a refreshment, and now I had to apply it to myself instead of clients. So went into a new relationship, found out very quickly that this is not what I want. So I really started on that journey of figure out what do I want? How do I want my life to look? What type of relationship do I want? But basically more, what type of woman am I? What do I want? How do I want to move in this world? Do I want to be a working woman? Do I want to be a career-based woman? Do I want to be a housewife? Do I want to be a mom? Do I want to get married? Do I want to live in the Netherlands? Do I want a husband who is from a different ethnicity or different race? What do I want? Is that not the film? Is it Notebook? Is it Notebook? I don't know. I think it's Notebook. I don't know. Where he says, Ryan Gosling says, what do you want? What do you want? And I think a lot of people don't even know what they want because they are not aware that they have choices. Going back to the last meeting, that a lot of women do not know that they have choices. The whole thing of feminism was you have a choice. You can stay at home. You can be a housewife. You can be a career woman. You have a choice. Just know that you have a choice. So if you tell yourself, I want to be a housewife, make sure that, okay, this is part 1. I want to be a housewife. But what type of housewife do I want to be? Do I want somebody that bakes the cookies and, set that type of atmosphere at home? Or am I more a housewife that is helping her husband with, paperwork, with ideas? You can decide what type of wife you want to be, how you want to serve. Because at the end of the day, we are all serving. It doesn't matter if you work for money, you do not work for money. We are here to serve. People see Jeff Bezos and they think, oh, he's the guy of Amazon and he's so rich. But he's here to serve you. He's here to serve me, to make my life better, completer, more comfortable. That is what he is doing. A president, these people are here to serve us, not in a degrading way, but to make our lives better. I think a lot of people, when they hear serve, and that's why I say go into therapy, because a lot of people think serve is being a servant, being less than, being disrespected, being looked over, being controlled. No, that is not in my book what serve means. It's to lay your life basically down to help another person get better. It's an act of love. That's why I always tell my children, when you go to school and you don't understand something, ask your teacher. She is here to serve you. She is here to tell you, to teach you, so that you can grow and you can be better and have understanding. Don't shy away from that. Don't think she is better than you because she's a teacher. No, she is here to help you. So you should ask questions. Maybe they don't understand how to ask questions, but we can help you to ask the right questions so that you can get the answers you need. Same thing, years ago, my husband needed a lawyer. And I really felt that that lawyer thought that he was better than us because he is a lawyer. No, sir. You are a lawyer because you are here to serve us. Yes, you are making lots of money. Yes, people have you in high regards because you are a lawyer. Maybe you drive a certain car, you live in a certain house. But at the end of the day, you are here to serve. You are here to serve your client. I'm going to put a pizza in the oven. And then I'm going to tell you that years and years ago, when we were living in Suriname, and my husband and his family, they have a lot of ground, a lot of acres. I think it's almost like 20 acres. Is it acres? Is it hectometer? I don't know how to call it, but it's a lot of land. It's not acres, it's hectometers. Almost 19.1. And this thing is a big problem because it's in the family and some people don't want the piece they were assigned. But you know how it is with greed, because now his mother died, his father died. There now is a lot of beef on, no, I want this side, no, you should get that side. But when his mother was living, we went to a lawyer in Suriname, and this lawyer is basically family because my brother-in-law, so my husband's brother, has a child with her. But she's the family lawyer or counsel. So my husband is a Virgo. He really wants to understand. He's somebody, when he also watches movies, he plays it back because he wants to understand line for line what's going on. So that's why he doesn't like to go into the cinemas, because he cannot rewind, he cannot play back. So now she is explaining all types of stuff about the assets and all these legal terms, and my husband is confused and he's asking questions like, okay, but I don't understand what you were saying. Can you explain this again? Can you explain this? And she was getting aggravated. She was becoming really angry. And then she asked me, how can you live with this man? He's asking so many questions. And people started laughing. But he's like, I don't understand. You act like I know these things. You act like I'm a lawyer. You act like I've been to school to study law. I don't know what you're talking about. And I want to understand so that I can get it right and act accordingly. He is that type of man that he will ask you if he doesn't understand. Probably almost everybody who was sitting there didn't understand, but they were ashamed or too scared or didn't want to bother her because you think, yeah, she has other more important things to do. I think that's a wrong concept. You need to understand, if you pay your lawyer, because the family paid. They paid for her services. It was not like it was for free. You should feel powerful enough and confident enough, secure enough to ask questions. And it's something in the Surinamese culture that people don't ask questions. They feel that they are bothering you. They feel like they are some kind of, how do you call that? Like a bug. You're bugging people. My brother has the same mentality. So I'm not going to ask nothing. I ain't going to ask nobody something. But that is not the right attitude. That's why I'm just coming here. I'm like, I want housewife. I'm asking you, all housewives, join the club. I'm not ashamed to tell you what I want. I'm confident enough. I'm grown enough to tell you this is what I want. I want new friends. I want these type of women in the group. I want housewives. I want to meet up with you. This is what I want. I want to have a deal with YSL to talk about domestic violence awareness. I want to have our own product. I want to meet up with you, have events. I tell you what I want. And I will ask, can you help me? Can you help me start a website? Can you help me start this club? Can you join me with this club? I am not ashamed to ask questions. And I have came a long way because I came from the same mentality. I do not ask. I don't want to bother you. I don't want to be too much. I don't want the label of being too much. But that is not the right mentality. Because I understand now that you are here to help me. When you are on this spiritual journey of achieving your goals, you understand that life, God, the universe, I say God, will align everything so that you can meet your purpose, that you can meet your goals. So that means certain people come into your life to help you. And then I'm not going to feel heavy to ask you something, knowing that God has sent you here to help me to build this business or build this relationship, marriage, to create. I'm not ashamed of that. I just know that who is in control. So when I was on the, to go back to Oprah, when she said, know what you want, it felt so good in my spirit to know that I wrote a book and it's a relationship book where basically the whole book is about knowing what you want. That is the whole purpose of the book. Know what you want. And then you act upon that. You move accordingly to what you want. Meaning, I can make videos saying I want housewives in the group, but I post in the weekends, knowing that housewives probably in the weekends they will be busy with their husbands, other family activities, maybe children. So I'm not attracting what I want. If I say I want housewives, but I make vlogs where I just create with my children or husband, maybe housewives be like, this is not really for me, because the conversations that you are holding are targeted to everybody and anybody. That's why I'm not making vlogs anymore, because I don't want every and anybody on my channel or in the sisterhood. I'm specifically talking to housewives and things that are going on in our life or what we experience. So I know what I want and I act upon that. Of course, it takes time to build, it takes time to manifest things, but I know I'm on the right path because I set it up for success. My setup is to have success with housewives, and I'm constantly talking about what I want, who I want in the group, talk to one another. This is what I want. This is what's going to happen. And to have that confirmation from somebody like Oprah, who said, this is how you go about life. it felt great. It just felt good. So with that said, I don't even know if I'm finished my conversation, but I hope you understand where I'm coming from, to see that manipulation can control you if you're not aware of that. The manipulation can control you. It can control men. It can control women. You're not above that. Just know, always take your time. Don't follow people randomly, especially if you don't know their attention, if you cannot trust them. Don't think because they have glitz and glamour that they are good people. Maybe they have issues. That issues will come up in time, which make them not handle their responsibilities right and correctly, and they can abuse their power or their influence. So I'm also telling you this just so that I am aware that I can fall victim to that. Like I said, I'm not above that. So that means that I have to be aware. I am not above that. So I'm looking at these things. I know my character. I'm not somebody who is power hungry and that I will do any and everything for power, but yet still be aware. I need to be present. You know, I have a good husband, like I said in the previous video, that says it's great that you started this sisterhood, but be aware that you have a responsibility once the donations or the money comes in, which will come in, he said, because I see who you are. I see your power. You are very an attractive person, which means people like you. They like how you look. They like your aura. It's just like, be aware that that can happen. Sorry, there was a minor accident, but the girls handled it well. Kijk maar, hier heb je nog een extra doek om je handen te vegen.
Nee. Dat zag er heel groot mosquito.
He's like, just be aware that this can happen. And I'm just happy that I have somebody in my corner that will always tell me, that I can trust, and it can always tell me, I think you're going about this in a wrong way. That doesn't mean that I have to listen, but I just know that I have somebody, that extra security, to see that when I'm doing things that are out of character, basically. But that was not the subject for today, but I guess the spirit or the vibes wanted me to share that with you, because I know manipulation, and I just know there are women in the group, because I'm not blind, I'm not stupid. This is a group, but I know there are also women here that suffer abuse, that are being manipulated by their husbands. Wacht. Wat wil je hebben? I mean, I'm not stupid. I know that there are women right now, right here, that are watching, that are suffering abuse. I just know that, because we're dealing with people. And even though I have this knowledge, I know that there are certain husbands that do not have this knowledge, or don't believe in this knowledge, or don't believe that in equal rights in a marriage, or love, or power, manipulation. Like I said, everybody has their own backpack. You don't know what somebody has been through. You don't know their family dynamics. You don't know what they have witnessed. If their parents maybe were abusive towards each other, towards the children. You just don't know. And I know that what you have seen, what you have experienced will form you. And if you don't shake that, this is the same behavior that you will also use in your marriage. So I know that there are husbands, obviously, that will abuse women, their wives. I know that. So I'm not going to be standing up here telling, oh, all traditional husbands are great. No, I know there are some icky, yicky, sticky husbands out here that will abuse our sisters. I know that. But I hope by me speaking out, and hopefully other housewives speaking out, that you will confide in them and see what we can do. Maybe connect you with a charity, therapy, marriage counseling. I don't know. But there are ways, and you're not alone. There are other people that have witnessed this. There are people who survived it, that they marriage changed, thrived. Not everybody broke up. Not everybody divorced their abuser. Some people really changed because they want to change. So there are options. So that's why I'm sharing this with you, because I just know that there are abusive men. And I hope not. Of course, I don't hope it. But I know if there are thousands of women here in the sisterhood, in the club, I know at least one is being abused. And I just hope that you feel safe, that you trust us enough to let your guards down and tell us about it. You don't have to say it in the comments. You can do it in a DM. You can just pull one sister aside that you trust and you believe that she can be a great mentor to you. Just share it with her. You don't have to share it with me or other members. That is not, you don't have to if you don't want to. Just make sure you share it with your mentor. And if you feel like your mentor doesn't suit you or doesn't hear you correctly, always come to me or one of the other women, and see what we can do internally to help you out. All right. Well, now coming up to the real subject of today, and that subject is the biggest challenge of being a housewife. Oh yes, and we are going vulnerable. I'm not going to share everything because it will be too long, but there was one pinnacle moment in my relationship with my husband that really ignited being a housewife, and more so mentality wise. I met my husband in 2004. The end of 2014. We were just dating. At the time I was being a model. I was a freelance makeup artist, and he was working. He had his own home. He bought an apartment in Amsterdam. He had a steady job. 3 months in, I felt like he wanted to be serious, and I didn't want to become serious. Why not? Because I've been in a relationship before. Like I said before, my husband, I had 2 boyfriends. My first boyfriend I met when I was 15, going on 16. We stayed together until I was 20. And my second boyfriend, I was with him from 20 till 22. So as you can tell, I spent more than 6-7 years of my life with boys or men, however you want to say it. I met my husband when I was 24, so that means there was like maybe a year that I was single, and then now he wants to be serious. And because of my first relationship, I just told him, no, I'm not ready for that. I don't want that. I told myself, I made a promise to myself, I want to stay single for 5 years, like I'm in control of that. So I was maybe year and 3 months single. So I didn't want to go into a relationship again. I didn't even had time to explore who I am, what I wanted. So I told him, no, I wasn't that sweet. I just told him, if you want to be with me, because you criticize what I am doing, because I was modeling, he was talking about, yeah, you gonna get worn out and tired because of the work, meaning the workload and traveling up and down. And he didn't want me to be so focused and ambitious on having a career and miss out on having a family and having, you know, a solid foundation of people around me. And I was like, boy, if you want me to do that, make sure you get your stuff together, because otherwise this thing ain't settling. We broke up because I felt like I already know what he wants, so there's no way to continue on this shenanigan, because he is going to fall in love with me more, and he was going to attach to me more, when that is not what I wanted. So we just called it quits. I went on with my life. He went on with my life. Never spoke to him again. But in the back of my mind, I always thought, I've been so foolish, because I really felt I lost a good thing, because he was somebody I talked to. He taught me so much about self and self-love and being black and black history and black culture. And he was somebody I could talk to. He motivated me. He thought with me, because I told him I want to start a YouTube channel. And he was like, no problem, I got you. What do you need? And I'm looking for cameras. And he got me a camera, because he was working at the time at a salesman and how do you call it? An electronica store. I'll be right back. As you can tell, the children are home, so I'm being pushed and pulled, but it's going well so far. So yeah, I really felt I lost something good. So I was like, man, I think I made a mistake. But the next time, because that's how I thought, I cannot do anything about that anymore, or at least my ego, that's what my ego told me. So I told myself, if I ever get into a position where I meet somebody who is great, I'm not going to let that go. So thank God, God brought him back to me more than a year later. He contacted me, and I told myself, you know what you told yourself, right? You said if you find somebody like that again, you will not let that person go. So, okay. Did that, came back together, and we are just going to be honest here. When we came together, I immediately started moving in with him. I didn't want to waste no time, because I already dated him. I know who he was. I know his spirit. I know that he had a good heart. I was like, let's just get it over with. I took all my stuff from my mother's house. I didn't even tell her what I was doing, because at the time I felt like she and I didn't have that bond. I didn't feel the obligation to tell her, like, Mom, I met this great guy, and oh, he's so amazing, we're gonna live together, because I already knew that she had her own vision and mind and beliefs, and those beliefs didn't match up with my beliefs. So I was like, I'm not gonna let anybody stop me. I know what I want for myself, and she didn't know what I wanted in life. I never shared that with her, so why would I tell her, knowing that she has a totally different worldview? Probably would discourage me, would come with all types of fears and stuff that I do not need. Right now, I need to be bold and make my own decisions. So I just went on, did my thing, moved in. It was great, amazing, love, fun, sex, everything, all day, every day, 5 times a day. At one point, I was like, we've been doing this for months. We went on a holiday, did the same thing there, came back home, did the same thing again. At one point, I just got tired of repeating the same thing. So at one point, I just told him, it's not like I'm leaving tomorrow. So Why are we having sex like I'm leaving? So we were just at it every single day, multiple times a day. And at one point I was like, when are we going to stop this? Because I felt like if I didn't put it to a stop, or at least reduce the amount, we would just kept going and going and going, and all of a sudden all years just passed and we didn't do anything creative but to be just sharing body, body on body. So I told him, why are we doing this? It's not like I'm leaving tomorrow, because we are acting like this is just a weekend and we're gonna get out of it as much as we can, because we have to go without it a whole week and then only the weekends. So thank God my husband listened to me. And at the time he was my boyfriend. And that is where we could start focus on what we needed to focus on, because I came into his life to serve a purpose, because he who found a wife has found a good thing. My husband always has been somebody that would invest in other people, men and women, due to his situation of him coming to the Netherlands. He came here on a medical visa, so he couldn't participate in society the way he wanted to. At one point this visa had expired, so he didn't want it to go back to Suriname. He wanted to stay in the Netherlands, and that became a whole new journey to finding ways to get legal documentation. So he always had to invest in other people, their business, in their ideas, their creativity. So when I came into his life, I always been somebody who was creative and busy. I started writing a book on domestic violence, meaning my journey with that, how I came out of that situation, but I couldn't, progress writing, because I really wanted a book about me going through that, but now coming out on the other end and having, a great relationship. Maybe children at the time, I didn't know, but at least to have a great relationship, meaning where I was free, I could be myself, have a supporting husband. And I couldn't write that because I didn't experience that at the time. So I stopped writing, but I told him about my idea and what I was doing in 2014 already. So when we came back in 2016, he already told me also in 2014 that he wanted to write a book, like a guide on how to, or a manual, how to do a relationship right. So I told him I was going to help him with that. So when we came back together in 2016, I told him, let's start that journey. So I really came into his life to have a purpose. So not only writing that book, I was also active on social media. And I knew how to edit videos and how to post videos. And he wanted to also get into that because he had a lot on his mind and he felt like he could contribute to especially the Black and Surinamese culture here in our community here in the Netherlands. So I taught him how to edit, or not even taught him, I sparked it. And he started to do his own research. He was also a photographer in his off days, so more like a hobby, but that was also interest of him. So he could combine those two. And because he knew how to edit videos, he helped his sister with editing her videos for her website. She also started an initiative for women, a group that empowered women. So it was full circle. So with that said, my biggest challenge as a housewife was finding my space, finding my place in his life. Who am I? What am I here for? What is my purpose? That was my biggest challenge, because like I said in the last video or the previous video, people create a narrative on what a housewife is: cook, clean, be quiet, do not have an opinion. Your husband is the boss over you. You just follow him. When he barks, you bark. When he says bark, you bark. That is totally not my experience as a housewife. I need to have an opinion because my life is attached to my husband's life. If he makes wrong decisions, I will definitely feel the repercussions of that. I'm not quiet. I'm very much involved in what needs to happen, what my husband's doing. Not in a way that I'm nagging or really checking his moves, but I'm here like a muse. I'm here to inspire. I'm here to help. Like I said, I'm here to serve. So if my presence doesn't serve my husband, doesn't serve the family, if I'm not seeing positive residuals from that, I need to check myself and have that conversation with myself about who am I doing a great job, because I see he's slacking, he doesn't isn't as motivated or inspired to create. That is my challenge, that is my role. So I know my purpose here is to be an inspiration, to be a muse, that I have great attitude, positive outlook on life, that I look good, that I stay attractive, because that will inspire him to do more for the family. Also to create a great atmosphere, meaning cooking, making sure I have great food, great like hosting skills, even though I host my family almost every day. But it's something that I need to do to make sure that he feels at ease, that he feels that he's in a creative bubble. Not different from when artists are in the studio and they want to build a certain surrounding so that the creativity can flow and that they are on their best. That is the same thing that I'm doing daily, basically. Now I'm fixing my house, making sure that every angle that you look, that it looks good, it feels inspirational, it makes you want to do more, because my husband really is not feeling how the house is looking. Even though we made a decision together, he's a Virgo, he wants things to look a certain way because that will add to his, feeling good, feeling motivated and inspired to create and to be his best. So that is my challenge and that is my role within this house. So it's not the cooking and the cleaning, that's just a part of it, but that is not my main occupation. And I'm glad that I understand that cleaning and doing all this stuff, that is not my main occupation, because I think that can be very sad outlook, even though you can zhuzh it up, making sure you have a nice house and you enjoy your tasks. But at the end of the day, you want something of value. You want something more to do than only cook, clean, and feel like that is what you're there for. Okay, go on. But I enjoy cooking and cleaning. I love it. I mean, who doesn't like to be in an organized, well loved and surrounded home? But I also enjoy knowing that I can be a muse to my husband, that he is inspired, that we have these conversations and that the conversations spark ideas, content that he can create for his platform. So I'm happy that I can be of service. But I know for every housewife it's different, because what if you come into a situation where your husband is already established, or where he is part of a family legacy and he's the third or the fourth, fifth generation, and you need to find your way as a wife because they are already established. There's already a brand, there's already a platform. So I think as a housewife, the biggest challenge is to figure out who you are to your husband, who you are for yourself, what your role is in that, and how you can contribute, making sure that everybody gets the best out of themselves. Because like I said, we are here to serve. I'm here to serve my husband, but he's also here to serve me. And he serves me by working, making sure the bills are paid so that I can be a housewife, because that is initially what I want. I want to be a housewife, and I can only do that if he contributes to my way of living by working, or at least by making sure we get an income so that I can stay at home and we can sustain this for the duration of my life, and of course his life, but especially my life. So that is how we serve one another. And that's why I think it's very important to share what you want, to share how you see yourself. Because if I never said that I wanted to be a housewife, and I would just go with the flow, and we were just dating, I would continue on working, and I would do that until maybe I would be pregnant and I had to take maternity leave from work, then the conversation would have been different, because maybe he wouldn't be prepared to be a traditional husband or one. Then the narrative would have been totally different. So I'm so grateful that I was in that first relationship, and that taught me how to stand up for myself, to make me strong enough to share what I am thinking, and to really speak up for myself. Even though in the first relationship it wasn't received well. And that's why I say sometimes it's not about you. It's not about what I said. That person couldn't receive that I had my own opinion, that I had my own way of living, that I had my own thoughts. And that's why I love my husband, because he accepts the fact, or understands the fact, that I am my own person, that I have my own thoughts, that I have my own opinions. We don't see eye to eye all the time. Like I said, everybody has a different backpack. He has a different backpack. I have a different backpack. I have a different worldview from him. But we can work together. We can coexist. We have an understanding. I understand that it's also okay not to share the same ideas. And that doesn't mean he or I love each other less. He's just a different person. And that doesn't mean we cannot coexist because he doesn't think the same way I think. I think that's the beauty of it all. I think as a housewife, you should be very spiritually aware of yourself, who you are. You should be connected to your higher self to understand what your purpose is in your marriage, in your husband's life. Don't go by what people think that a housewife is, or their ideas of what a housewife is, because it's not black and white. It's very gray. What my experience is with my husband doesn't mean that you will have the same experience. It's very specific. You are designed to be in that person's life, and your husband is designed to be in your life. These things are not coincidences. This is not just somebody that came into your life because of a random Blue Monday. No, that person is there to teach you something, to make the best out of your life, to make the best version out of you. And sometimes the lessons or the teaching doesn't come from a pleasant place, meaning a loving place, because that person might treat you bad. But the outcome is always to get yourself to your higher self. Even though my first encounter with relationship was so bad, it made me love myself more. It pushed me and forced me to love myself, to trust myself, to see who I am, to see that I'm a very courageous person, creative person, opinionated person, but at the same time I'm also bubbly. A very caring and loving person, even though it was not received well. That doesn't mean I have to change the character or the nature of who I am, because these same traits I'm using now. If I wasn't caring and loving, trust me, I couldn't be a wife, and I definitely couldn't be a mother, and I also wouldn't be standing here, because I wouldn't give a damn about no person in this world. Because I care, and because I love people, because I love to connect with people, I enjoy people's presence, I'm interested in people and their stories. That's why I love documentaries more than I love movies, because I really want to see, who is this person, what is their journey, how did they become this person, where did they came from, who taught these people all these things. I love that. So I'm really interested in people, and that's why I can do this. So I'm so grateful to myself that I didn't allow my first boyfriend to take these traits away from me, because he didn't understand it, or he didn't receive it well. I just know I am a good person. At least every day I'm doing my best to be the best version of myself, to be kind, to be loving, but to also stand up for myself and tell somebody that, hey, you have reached a certain space or place that they should not be in. I have my boundaries. And living with somebody, that is very important, because two people are coming together with different backpacks, with different goals, intentions, and you should make it clear what you want. You should also tell your husband what your purpose is, or what you believe your purpose is. I tell my husband all the time, I'm here to be your muse, to be your inspiration. If I don't inspire you, that means X, Y, and Z. That I ain't doing my job right. I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do, because God put me here for a reason. And if I see you slacking, you're not being on your content creation, or you're not doing what you're supposed to, or you're deriving from what you're supposed to, I'm also here to steer you back in. So I'm making it known to him, and I'm happy he receives it, and he's doing his thing. He's happy because he loves content creation. He loves to speak. He loves to share his opinion. He loves to share his opinion. Sometimes a bit too much. But I'm also here to polish him and tell him, no, this is not the way to say it. And I understand he's a guy, but that doesn't mean you have to be blunt. I understand that men maybe process information differently, but I'm also telling him, you need to understand people have different backpacks, and it's okay to not have information. It's okay to tell people that you don't know how to help them. It's okay to tell people that they need to seek therapy or to go a different route. I tell him that as well, because he always feels like he has to tell and he has to really go in on people. But it's also good to not go into people and just see that they are having a hard time. Maybe they are sick, mentally sick, emotionally sick, physically sick, which prohibits them from doing right, from doing the right thing, to be righteous. And I think God also wants us to be kind and not always be so judgmental. Matter of fact, he doesn't want us to be judgmental, unless you can catch the first stone, cast the first stone. So I'm also helping him to be more polished in his delivery, and to see human beings for what they are. Human beings, we have flaws. We do certain things. Sometimes we are not even aware that we do certain things because it's so normal to us, because we come from a sick background and we don't understand that there are different ways to do things. There are different roads to Rome. So that is also what I'm teaching them. So as I'm telling myself that, as I'm telling you that, I'm also telling him, babe, no, this is not the way. You can also look at from this perspective. You can also say it like this. So I'm also always busy sharing my thoughts, polishing, making sure he gets the best out of himself, because I want him to reach his highest potential. And sometimes you have a blind spot because you know, what you have seen at home and what's normal to you might not be normal to other people. So it's also time to grow and to be better. So I'm always busy figuring out how can I help him, how can I be of service, listening to his content. And even though I don't agree with all of the content he's making or his delivery, it's also a balance of being free. He's free to express himself, and sometimes I do struggle with that because I feel like you could have said this better so that it would be received better. But he also wants to be authentically himself. So that is something I honestly struggle with, because I feel like, no, this is too blunt, this is too cold, this is too judgmental, or this is sometimes inconsiderate. But he feels like I'm myself. I need to say it in a way that I want to say, and I'm like, okay. So it's difficult, but I know that I have a purpose, and he might not get it right the first time, maybe not the 10th time, but in time people will also tell you online, you should have said this differently, or it's maybe people will say, this is perfect how you said that. I understand, it's clear, it's bold. So it's difficult, but I know I have found my purpose, and he also knows that he can always confide in me. He always comes to me, babe, what you think about this, what you think about that. This is a new trending topic, or this is something that the people at work are talking about. So I listen, and I don't watch his videos, but I listen to what he says, and I trust him that what he told me, that he will do the same thing online and put his own twist on it. But I think that is the most challenging thing as a housewife, to find your place and to be bold and to be courageous and to be open-minded and speak boldly. To speak boldly, which is weird because a lot of people think when you are a housewife that you don't speak up and you let your husband walk all over you. That's why a lot of people thought it was dangerous for me to be in a traditional marriage, because they felt like, didn't you experience abuse? Weren't you a domestic violence victim or survivor, however you want to call it? Why would you want to go into a relationship or a marriage with somebody who you just blindly follow, and he can do whatever with you that he wants? But that only shows that they don't understand what this is, what this marriage is. Of course, he has the responsibility as a man, but that doesn't mean that I cannot intercept if I feel like it. If I feel like this interception is needed, and God has placed this boldness in me because he knows who I'm married to. So I need to speak up. I need to have that strength and that courage to be like, babe, no, this is the wrong direction. And God knows his people. He knows you. He knows what type of wife you are. He did not place you with your husband by accident. He placed you because you are the right woman for the job. I know there's nobody else that can fill my position. They can try. They have tried, but it won't work because they were not designed to be with this man. I am designed to be with this man. I understand him. I understand that he has a kind heart. I know that he's flawed, that he sometimes doesn't say things in a compassionate way. And that's what I'm here for, to tell him, babe, this is how you can do it. But he's also here to teach me a lot of things, teach me how to trust. In the beginning, of course it was hard, knowing that a lot of people betrayed me. He also had to fight for his position and to show me that he could be trusted, that he is very responsible, that he will not misuse his power or responsibility. So either way, he is here to serve me, I'm here to serve him. And once you find that understanding, life just goes so much smoother. Of course, you get bumps in the road, but it goes smoother because you got a good understanding who he has a good understanding who he is, and I have a good understanding who I am. But vice versa, he also understands who I am. I also understand who he is. And that makes it easier, because this all is designed. This is all by design. This is not by accident. So God has placed me with this person for a purpose. And that's why it didn't work with my previous boyfriend, because I was not designed for them and they were not designed for me. But that doesn't mean you cannot take away lessons. You can take away goodness from the situation. But I know they were not designed for me. That's why I will never look back and think, oh, I want to be back with them, because I understand that they were not my husband. They were just somebody I met through passing, and I had to learn something in order to get to the step where I am today, so that I feel free and am confident to be online. And I think we take these things for granted, but it's not easy if you're not used to putting yourself out there, to put yourself online. It's not easy, but we as content creators make it look easy, or even not even content creators, but sometimes just, pioneers, somebody who's starting something that hasn't been done before, or is new, or is awkward to other people, that goes against the grain. It's just a certain passion, a certain belief and love you have for the things you're doing, and there are hurdles, but you just go over them because you love the thing you do so much that you will not be stopped by these hurdles. It's not that I want to be online, meaning to recruit housewives online, but that is the easiest way to do it. So I have to learn how to do the camera angles. I have to learn edit. I know, thank God I did that 10 years ago, because to figure that stuff out now, when having children, how to edit and all that stuff, I probably wouldn't have the time now, or it would take so much longer, or I had to wait on my husband to edit for me. So I'm grateful that I did that in 2013 or 14, and that knowledge stuck with me. Even with my makeup, I always had an interest for makeup, but I went to school for it in 2011. I graduated in 2012 from makeup school. And from makeup school. And now that I have to do makeup on camera or look a certain way, it's easy for me because I already have that information. So it's a lot of hurdles, but you step over these things because you want to reach your goal. So it's easy for me now to pick up the camera, to do the editing, to do my makeup, to be on here. Even though my English is not the best, I know you can understand what I'm saying. And as I'm continue on to do this, it will get much easier to speak English. Of course, I read books, English books. I watch television or series when I have the time, and most of it is English spoken. My dad speaks English, but of course I speak Dutch every day. I speak Dutch with my children. When I'm walking the street, it's Dutch, so sometimes it gets lost in the sauce. But as I'm doing this, it will get better. And the first time I was struggling, But that didn't stop me from doing this. And I know a year, 2 years, 3 years from now, this will become second nature, which will make it easier for me to do the public speaking, where everybody will be listening to you, watching you, and you have to speak to a crowd. But this is all practice. And everything you've been through in life is all practice, building your muscle for the place where you are at in now. Your housewife era, where you are a wifey, something to be proud of, to serve, to be servant, of service is such a beautiful thing. It's nothing less than, because you're not getting paid. Everybody is serving. I don't care if you're Beyonce. Some people think Beyonce is a goddess and she's a queen, but she's here to serve. If I want to book Beyonce, she will have to do what I ask her to do. If I tell her I want 30 minutes and I only want these 10 songs, she cannot come in and do her own songs, because my crowd doesn't want to hear those songs. We want to hear these 10 songs. I'm the one that paid for it. And it's not degrading. It's just how life works. You're here to serve my crowd. We are married women. I don't want to hear anything about, certain topics, because it doesn't apply to my crowd. I'm just giving an example. So you get what I'm saying? So don't think somebody is so big and so rich that they don't serve. She serves us every day. Beyonce serves us with her art, with her creativity. She speaks to men and women. She speaks on love. She speaks on betrayal. She speaks on sisterhood. She speaks on motherhood. All the things that we can relate to. So we are here to serve. So when the next time somebody says, oh, you are a housewife. Oh, you're here to serve your husband. Oh, you are so... No. Yes, I'm here to serve, but I still have my mind together. I can tell my husband when he's wrong. I can tell when he's being led by the wrong spirit or by the wrong... And when I mean spirit, I mean maybe greed, jealousy, envy, because those are all spirits instead of the spirit of love. Some men are led by the spirit of fear, thinking that all hell will break loose and wars will start, and that's why they let their families perform certain or do certain things. Those are the spirits I talk about, not the spirits of demons and ghosts. No, I'm talking about real fear, because fear makes you do things that are out of character. And I know a lot of women are subjective to men who fear, because there are a lot of men out here who have fears, and that's why they create certain content. Let's say the manosphere, they fear women. They fear the power of a woman, and that's why they make the content, because most of the men who are in the manosphere are men that were scorned by women. They were hurt by women, and they didn't deal with the hurt. So instead of dealing with the hurt, they are projecting their fears upon women, upon other men, and their purpose is not to get hurt again, but they don't know how to not get hurt again, down and controlling that person. But there are other ways to not get hurt and get the proper tools. But if you won't submit yourself to therapy, how would you find out what these things are? Maar meneer. So it's all about tools, learning, finding new ways, and that's why I don't take the men in the manosphere. Let me not say I don't take them seriously. I take them seriously in that sense. I see what they want, but they just don't know how to get it. They don't know how to go about it. And it's good to listen sometime to figure out what is their thought process, and to go back in time and to see where they come from, and to see that they were hurt and that they didn't take care of their wound, and now the wound is oozing, and they just don't know how to deal with their counterparts. When we are not so hard, women are not the hardest to deal with if you understand what a woman is and what she stands for. And if you find a woman who is verbal, or not verbal in that sense like violent verbal, but verbal with what she wants and how she wants to be treated and what she wants from men, that will make things so much easier. So yeah, if you like this type of content, you already know what I'm going to say. The best things in life are free. So give me something that money cannot buy. And that's a like, subscribe, and comment. And share with your bestie housewife, because we only want housewives here, and there's a reason for it. This is not discrimination. This is a sisterhood of housewives, not stay-at-home moms. I'm sorry, you need to start your own sisterhood, because that's a different lifestyle. That's a different mindset from being a housewife. Yes, I said it here. Stay-at-home mom is, the word already says, you stay at home. You take an absence of leave. It could be 10 years, it could be 15 years from the workforce, and you take care of your children. That is what you do. But once your children are a certain age, you will be going right back. Being a housewife is really being of servant to your husband the same way he serves you, but he serves you in a different manner. So we are here to serve our husbands, to be to have a purpose so that he can get the best out of himself to reach his highest potential. And he does the same thing for you. And of course, certain activities might be similar, because especially when you have children, it might look like you are a stay-at-home mom, but you should never forget your purpose, that you were here first as a wife, and you were here to help your husband achieve certain goals. And it only gets harder as you get more responsibilities. For instance, now I am a mom of 4. I have to keep telling myself that I'm not a stay-at-home mom, because I can get so lost in the children and their needs and all the things that come with it, which I love. And especially because I love it, I sometimes forget that, oh yeah, I'm a wife and I need to help my husband and help him with whatever he wants to achieve, or with whichever goal God placed upon him, and I'm here to help him reach that potential. So that's why it's also so hard when people say you should never go with a man who or you should never go by potential. You should go by him already achieving the goal. But that also is by design. Some women are made to be with a man who already has achieved his goal. I believe that. Some women are made to be to help a man build up, because that requires different type of skills, attitude, character, which somebody who's maybe a woman who is with a man who already achieved this goal doesn't have these same characteristics, because God designed her not to be in the mud with the man. God designed her to be on the throne. So it's different. You cannot tell somebody that you should not go by potential. You should go only by he already having the life, the career, the prestige, the status. Because you don't know that. That's why it's important to listen to yourself. Listen to what God is telling you. How you feel. What you are kind of attracted to in that sense. Meaning, are you somebody who likes to build? Look at your behavior. Look at your patterns. Like I said, I guess I love somebody who needs to reach their potential still, because my first boyfriend, yes, he had money, he was doing his thing, he was criminal, by the way, not justifying his behavior, but he was a go-getter, he was a hustler, and I wanted to get him to being legal, being legit, going back to school, finding a new purpose. And I didn't mind doing that, having the conversations, finding out what can we do to get you out of this trouble. I didn't mind that. Second boyfriend, same thing. He had no clue what he wanted to do. But I didn't mind being with him, and we're going to figure it out. Meanwhile, I'm working on myself, but I do have the time to also check what can we do for you, how can we help you reach your highest potential. I guess that is what God has designed me for. I never was attracted to somebody who already reached their full potential. I can date you, and it is nice to be with somebody that already has a career or already has this thing going on, has a perspective in life. But I guess it's just, I love being creative. I love to figure out what can we do. I want to be part of the process. Let me just put it like that. And maybe it's not because I want that, but that is the design. That is how I've been designed, to be motivational, to be inspirational, to see things, to have visions, because I also have visions. I can see things, I can sense things. And I never thought I was spiritual like that, but I guess I am, because I wake up and I see things, I dream, I can see it, I can smell it, I can sniff it. The same way with this sisterhood. I just smell it. I can see the future. And even though I'm here, I can see the potential. I can see us meeting up. I can see us doing events. I can see us hugging and kissing and laughing together and crying together and kumbayaing together and cheering together. I can see us do all of that. I just see it. I see myself traveling to foreign places I never been, places that maybe people never think of as a destination to go to, because they are scared of rules and regulations. But to see that these are real people that are warm and generous, and we can learn so much from people from the Middle East or Africa and those places. So I really look forward to going there. And I can see you coming here. I can see us sharing great memories and going on girls trip together. And I don't know why. And that's why I also said being a housewife is a calling, because I don't know why I like the things I like. I don't know why I like makeup. I don't know why I like to look good. I don't know why I like to cook. I don't know why I like food. I don't know why I like to do hair. I don't know why I'm so attracted to interior design and having certain things in my house. I just like it. I like to watch interior design. I don't know why. I guess it's a calling, and these things are put in place to ignite these things in me. So I don't know why I'm not attracted to being a working wife. It's by design. I can only say it's by design. I guess, why am I filming and putting myself online, which a lot of women don't have that? I guess it's a calling to be on camera and to talk to people. I don't know why. It has to be by design that you are watching me and said you want to be in this club. It has to be by design. It's not by accident that you stumble upon these videos. Maybe you don't know why yet. You cannot articulate why, but there must be a reason why you're here. There's a reason that we are meeting each other. So that is the beauty of it all. We don't know why, but there is a reason. Everything is by design. So this is the word for the day, by design. So don't ever think that this is just accidents, coincidence. No, we are here together. We are housewives. This is our era. We are the housewives of this generation. We are going to write history with our sisterhood and what we are doing and how we are portraying ourselves in our society, in our communities. We will have a lot of interviews and podcasts worldwide where we can just change or add to a narrative that has been put out, or not even add, but just to have a different narrative than the one that's been put out. Of course, you have scorned housewives. Of course, you have housewives that are not happy with the outcome of their lives. That is normal. We cannot do anything about that, and we are not going to do anything about it. We are just going to tell our experience, our story, so that there are different versions, and the ones that want to be subscribed by being scorned housewives, you do that. If you are you want to be subscribed to being it being the best experience of your life, being the best choice of your life, there are more women that share that as well. So when the next generations come in, they can subscribe to healthy role models that show them it's okay to be opinionated, it's okay to be a housewife, it's okay that you serve your husband and do right by him, but it's also okay to start a club or a sisterhood or be active in your community without having the motivation to make money, but just to be of service and be a good person. And I think that is just a beautiful thought, and I see all these things, and I'm just happy and grateful that you're here. I hope that you are also grateful and happy that you are here and that you're meeting new people. Make sure you say your prayers. If you are a religious person, say your prayers for me, for yourselves, for the sisterhood, that we can grow and reach as much women housewives that we can reach, the one that need us the most, but also the ones that have the great experience, so that they can be the mentor to the women that need more support. Women who have influence in their community, women that have financial resources, women that have the spiritual backup to come into the group and pray over us and be with us and be creative and help one another, support one another. We have house rules. First rules, you have to be a housewife. Second one, we uplift, empower, celebrate one another. Third one, we are honest with one another. That is very important. We do not gossip about one another, and there is no competition. Everybody here is here by design. Everybody has an assigned role or task within the group. Some are here just to give donations, some are here to be a mentor, some are here to be a mentee, some of you are here to be hostess or event planners, financial department. Some people are here to be the face, are the ones that go out into the media. Some are writers that will write on the website, on our website to write articles, newsletters. Some of you are here to be graphic designers, even though there's AI. That does not matter. We can have, beautiful custom art that need to be created. Some people are here to do flower arrangements for events. I mean, we need all of you. We are very talented women, even though we are housewives. Most of us maybe been to school or just have their own talent, and we need all of you, and we need as much housewives as possible, because we don't want to leave anyone out, because we need each other. We are here to sharpen one another. If you feel weary or tired, we are here to uplift one another. We are here to celebrate when one of us is doing good or having beautiful things happen in their lives. We are here to share experiences. It's a loving place. It's a safe place, and we're just gonna kick butts. We are just gonna do what we need to do in order to get housewives on the map. And I I just love it. I love you, and I'm happy that you're here. And by the way, if you don't know who I am, my name is Lady Debi, or you can call me Lady D. I am Lady D, Lady Debi, and I started this little sisterhood a few months ago because I really had the need to connect with other housewives that are similar to myself, that I can talk makeup with, beauty with, life with, relationship, marriage, children, future, organization, all that stuff. That is what I really felt the need for. And instead of shying away from that, I just went heads deep, and I said, I'm going to start a... That was Amalia kicking my camera. I just said I want to start a sisterhood, and I did that. And it's the best thing that happened to me so far, because I was vlogging at first, and I thought that I wanted to be a vlogger and share my experience as a housewife, and my husband at times, and my children, even though I have a beautiful family. Hoeveel keer ga je nog komen? Nee, ik ben bezig. Even though I have a beautiful family, which should be displayed, that is not what I needed. What I needed is friendship, is connection, is community, and it was very courageous of myself just to acknowledge that. I've never been the person to be like, I need friends, I need women to connect with. Matter of fact, I didn't like sisterhood at all, because I thought it was fake sisterhood. Because a sisterhood also, I think you should make it as small as possible. If you just say all women, we are sisterhood, we are so many different women, so much variety. So does what I supply to or apply to does not might apply to another woman. That's why I said, let me just do only housewives, because most of us might like or have similar interests. But if I just start saying all black women or all Surinamese women, it's too broad, and within that category there are so many different women, and at one point it's going to be very hard to have a sisterhood because of the different needs. That's why I said I'm just going to do housewives, but I'm going to do it internationally. It's not for black housewives only, it's for all housewives, because I think we can learn from other sisters. I think we can learn from the women that live in Eastern Europe and their ways of living, because they have a different understanding of what a housewife is, because it's more condoned, it's more regular in their community. But we can also learn from women in Africa or Middle East, because in these societies it's preferable, they prefer housewives, or it's more traditional, which the West is not as traditional anymore. Here it's being promoted that you should work and have your own career and have your own identity, to have your own money, which is not bad. But what if you want to be a housewife, then it's going to be very difficult, because you will have a lot of resistance, because it's for progression, or the people who are talking about progression, it feels like this lifestyle is taking it back to the 50s, which is not. We are also progressing. We are also evolving as housewives. But it just looks different from a working woman. So I think it's important that we connect with women that have been doing it for centuries, that have a pride in being married, being a wife, have a pride in having a nice home, a well taken care of home, having children, and they are celebrated for it. And I think it's important for us to have these conversations, to have these women in our sisterhood, so that they can tell and share their experience, and we can learn from that and take away pride because I think a lot of housewives in the West, they feel ashamed, they feel less, they feel a purpose, or their purpose is not sufficient because they are not making money, or they are not CEOs, or they're not, doing well at their job, and they feel like they have nothing to show for. But we do, but it just looks different from their achievements. And I think it would be nice when we have women from these areas tell us, no, you're doing a great job. Do you know what you're doing? Do you know what you are representing and building? Don't think small of yourself, think highly of yourself. It doesn't matter what the other people think. Know that you're doing a great job, and it's a hard job. You're not being paid for it in physical money or in finances, but you're being paid in blessings. You're being paid in gratitude, in love, in connection, in traditions that you're building, experience that you're building for your husband, your wife, setting good examples. Know that men also can see that there are wives out here or women out here that are supportive and that won't leave you if things don't go well, or that only will cheat. These narratives are out there, and it's nice to see that there are supporting wives and that they love a man for who he is and not the money solely. So I love you. I should round it up because my camera has been flashing. So that means I've been talking a lot. I love you. Have a great weekend. I love to see you back on Tuesday. Know that every Tuesday and Thursday, 10 a.m. Dutch time, we will have meetings. Meanwhile, I'll be working on the website and all that stuff, the newsletters, so that we can connect more. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to use other platforms to connect with you, but for now it's just YouTube. If you have suggestions, let them know in the comments. Make sure you like, make sure you share, so that we can reach as much housewives as possible, so that we can also get the donations and the finances we need, so that we can get more people on the platform, do seminars, do events, do interviews and other stuff, so that we can grow as big as we need to grow. All right, I love you. See you on Tuesday. Ciao.